So, guys, this is your first lecture, and we are going to start our course. And actually, what is this course about? Well, this course is about to learn the Flutter. And if you have joined recently in this adventure, so it will be very grateful for you because for now, approach what I'm going to be follow is during this Flutter journey you will not only listen all these the lectures and doing it by yourself, but definitely I will do it by myself, and you will try to learn as you guys can see in YouTube or different tutorials. So in this journey, we will try to implement and do in it practical way. So in this tutorial, you will create a project from scratch. In every part, we will try to make a project from the scratch. Here, scratch means we are going to start from the very basic, very beginning, from zero level. Okay, so in each project, you will learn something new, definitely, and you will build an app that you will be able to use immediately on your Android or iOS device. So here you will learn Flutter from scratch to build fast, beautiful, native quality iOS and Android apps using just one code base. And you will build tons of beautiful applications and projects to add to your portfolio. Well, by the end of the course, you will be a fully fledged developer by mastering these things, such as stateful and stateless widgets, declarative programming, list view, animations, streams, features, and much more. If you are a developer with experience in some object oriented programming languages, just like Java, C Sharp, C, or Objective C, and you want to create Android apps, iOS apps, or web apps with Flutter, these languages will help you throughout the course. It is especially important for you if you want to create an app that runs on multiple platforms. But if you are a new one, if you are a beginner to any of the programming language or in Flutter, so or you don't have any programming background, you are a non-developer background you have, so then it will be okay. So don't worry, we will make it go through. The one thing just you have to do is just be consistent, okay? So don't miss the topics because there will be a sequence of step by step topics. uh, Most of the things I have collected from tutorials and from books and from different resources. Actually, I have collected all these things from different resources. Well, uh, now for the experience one, if you got some experience already with Flutter, the guys who are doing Flutter, I have seen in my group that they have been doing Flutter since a year or 6 months or past couple of months. So you'll be undoubtedly learn something. As we are going to build some one page or two page Flutter UIs in parallel. That what my actually this bootcamp makes a unique thing. Well, I make some random applications and definitely post it on my YouTube channel. So it will be the best for you for the practicing. But I'm not expecting that you guys have any prerequisite knowledge or experience with Flutter. All of our lectures are made with the assumptions that everything in Flutter is completely new to you. If you are if you know anything about the iOS development, Android development, or web development, that will certainly help you with understanding these topics because there are a lot of analogies in them for Flutter. The more you know about those things, that will be better for you, especially JavaScript and React. But if you know none of them, don't fret. They are by no means necessary. So come on, let's jump into the course and let's get this started and let's see what topics we are going to be covered in this our bootcamp. So this bootcamp or this course teaches you how to create fully functioning and featured apps that run on iOS and Android and the web. We do this in three sections. Actually, we have divided into three sections. The first part consists of the introduction, or you can also call the foundation of the Flutter, where we create the Hello World, Hello Flutter app. Well, I'm setting the stage for the course, giving you a feel for why you are here. What problems do Flutter solve? Why the boss would choose the Flutter versus some other solution? So, the project that most developers encounter while learning a new language or framework is a Hello World app. So we will start our app by this Hello World app or Hello Flutter app. This Hello World project assumes that you have no knowledge whatsoever of Flutter or Dart if you have already created apps with Flutter. Before you can probably skip these lectures or you can go straight to the next one. Well, by the end of this lecture, you will be able to build the presentation screen of the Hello World or Hello Flutter. Well, and from this next chapter, we will developing in Flutter. Actually, Flutter has a unique set of tools, but it isn't always straightforward what each tools does and how to use it. Well, these tutorials will guide you through the process of write, debug, test, and run. We get an understanding of the tooling, including installation and maintenance. Um, and I think I have done this part a bit of because I have done the installation part for the Android users, but soon I'll be uploading the installation part for the uh, iOS users, Mac OS users. After that, it will be a foundation Flutter or intermediate part. That will be our second part where we learn what are the widgets and everything is a widgets. Actually, it's the core concept. Okay, so widgets are super important to Flutter since they are the building blocks of every Flutter app. So we show why and provide the motivation and basic tools to create the widgets. Well, in this, topics included are our UI as code, user interface. UI stands for widget types, keys, and stateless versus stateful widgets. After that, we will learn value widgets, a deep dive into widgets that hold a value, especially user input fields. In this, topics are included the pub/spec YAML file. The pub/spec YAML file is the most important file of our Flutter project. So, what the things are included in the pub/spec YAML file? The things are included text, image, and icons widget, and how to create forms in Flutter. We will add dependencies or we will add libraries. If you are familiar to Android or React Native, so you are well known about the libraries, how to inherit them, how to get pubget. So don't worry, we will do it in from we will start from the very basic. After that, we were responding to gestures, how to make your program do things in response to user actions like taps, swiping, pinching, and like we'll show the button family and the gesture detector widget. So all of these things we are going to learn in our second part and laying out your widgets. Well, learn how to lay out a widget, controlling how widgets are placed side by side or above or below, defining the amount of space widgets between widgets and aligning them vertically or horizontally. So we will see in detail. After that, we will see navigation and routing, how to navigate the page. And navigation is making the app hide one widget and show another in response to user actions. This makes them feel they are moving from one screen to another one. So we'll cover step navigation, tab navigation, and drawer navigation. If you have a mobile application development background, so you are well known about these things. But if you don't have, so don't worry. I will let you know in, and we will discuss in details, and we will practice side by side. So don't worry. Then after that, the styling your widgets. Then we will see how to style our widgets. Then we look at how to control each widget's colors, borders, decorations, shapes, and other presentational characteristics. We handle light styling as we introduced each widget earlier. But this is where we answer all the questions needed to get a real world app looking good and staying consistent through with themes. So after that, we will try to manipulate with managing state. So how to get data from one widget to another one and how to change the data. We cover how to create stateful widgets and design them in the best way. So we provide a high level overview of tools and to handle real world complex state management. After that, the last part that consists of our creating production ready app that will be above and beyond. So here you will learn your future app, your Flutter app that can work with files by using libraries, features, async, await, building files with your app, reading and writing a file, JSON, serializations, and then afterward we will see how to make RESTful API calls with Ajax and how to read from and how to write an HTTP API server. This is where we show how to make get, post, put, delete, and patch requests. After that, we will try to use Firebase with Flutter, and we will show you a real world and robust cloud solution that works with a dream with Flutter. No surprise, it is also a Google offering. Okay, so let's come to our introduction. Well, Flutter is fast. You all know that, and the rendering of this runs at 60 frames per second FPS and 120 FPS for capable devices. The higher the FPS, the smoother the animations and transitions. If you are familiar with the gaming, so you are well known about what are FPS and how does it works, no? So, well, these applications made in Flutter are built from a single code base and that are compiled to native ARM code, use the graphics processing unit GPU, and can access a specific iOS and Android APIs like GPS location, image library by communicating via platform channels. Well, you will learn more about platform channels later on in our classes. Flutter provides the developer with tools to create beautiful and professional looking applications. And with the ability to customize any aspect of the application, you will be able to add smooth animations, gesture detection, and splash feedback behavior to the UI. Well, in our Flutter applications result in native performance. Well, in Flutter applications, results are in native performance for both iOS and Android platforms. No? So during this development, Flutter uses hot reload to refresh the running application in milliseconds. And when you change the source code to add new features or modify existing ones using hot reload, it is a great way to see the changes. Well, we will see it when we are developing our apps. So you can make your code on the simulator or a device while keeping the application's state and the data values on the screen. Well, come to the Flutter. Flutter is Google's portable UI framework for building modern, native, and reactive applications for both iOS and Android. Well, Google is also working on Flutter desktop embedding and Flutter for web Hummingbird and embedded devices, Raspberry Pi, Home Automotive, and more. Flutter is an open source project hosted on GitHub with contributions from Google and the community. Well, Flutter uses Dart, a modern object oriented language that compiles to native ARM code and production ready JavaScript code. And Flutter uses the Skia 2D rendering engine that works with different types of hardware and software platforms and is also used by Google Chrome, Chrome OS, Android, Mozilla Firefox, Firefox operating system, and others. Well, Skia is sponsored and managed by Google, and it is available for anyone to user the BSD free software license. Skia uses a CPU based, well, path rendering, and also supports the OpenGL ES2 accelerated backend. Now come to the Dart. Well, Dart is a programming language we all know that you will use to develop your Flutter applications, and you will learn more about in the tutorial. Well, to learn Dart from very basic, Dart is actually ahead of time compiled to native code, making your Flutter application fast. Dart is also just in time, that's also called JIT compiled, to making it fast to display your code. Changes such as via Flutter stateful hot reload feature, we will see when we compile our applications, and when we are going to save something, or when we are going to change something, we just need to save that, and it refreshes your screen. So it is a really very good feature. Okay, so now if you guys have familiar with the Dart language, so it will definitely help you. Actually, what I have found that Dart has got its unique features for sure, but it is extremely easy to pick up. If you understand object-oriented concepts, heck, if you know Java, sorry, or C Sharp, most code snippets are understandable without any explanation of the language. You will just see a few and you will be able to writing your own in no time. So at the same time, there are some unique but very cool Dart features that we consider best practices. I will also provide you the cheat sheet of Dart with just enough detail to write code, as I'm not providing with this by my own. Actually, Flutter team has created it for your ease, for you to understand and to build, or to check your logics, or to make logics, or to recall your concepts, or seeing how these things are working. So followed by a more in-depth explanation of the features that will be unexpected by developers of other languages, and all other materials and assets that would be relevant. Inshallah, I will provide it to you just time by time. So, what Flutter uses? Actually, Flutter uses Dart to create your user interface. Okay, so removing the need to use separate languages like markup or visual designers, Flutter is declarative. In other words, Flutter builds the UI to reflect the state of the app. When the data changes, the UI redrawn, and Flutter constructs a new instance of the widget. In this understanding the widget tree and the element tree section of this chapter, we will discuss in detail. So don't worry, don't get uh, just like that. What these things are coming, element tree and this tree. Don't get fed up. So we will discuss it in detail in later on this our tutorial in this chapters. So well, you will learn how widgets are configured, mounted, rendered, creating the widget tree, element tree, but under the hood, the render tree, a third tree, uses the rendered object, which computes and implements the basic layout and paint protocols. I won't discuss it in further in this tutorial. So let's come on. So what is Flutter? Well, now a lot of people are still trying to figure it out that what exactly is Flutter. And to be able to answer this question, have to we first have to put ourselves into the mind of a mobile app developer. No? So let's take an example that Bilal is a developer. He's an Android developer or iOS developer. Now Bilal has to make his really cool app where instead of matching with other people, you get to match with foods, and you get to figure out what food you most want to eat. Just like this app, we are trying to matching the food, that what food we like to eat, and it's actually a super popular app. Let's just consider everybody actually loves this app. Okay, so but there's a one problem. Actually, Bilal has just made this app into an Android development site, or either in iOS platform now. So every other day he gets a question, then when it's coming to iOS, or when it's coming to Android, so at some point, Bilal finally recognizes that actually it had enough, and now just like he has decided to learn a loads of books and study if he is going to build in Android, so he has to study of Java, or is if he is going to develop in iOS, he has to learn Swift language, and so finally he is able to have just like both of these button on this website after he tries to manage that or overcome this other platform. So a lots of books he has to read, he has to watch lots of tutorials or take a lot of time and spend on it to get the things more clear, and to get the another application on another platform, just like if he has uploaded on Android Google Play, so he has now the task to upload it on the App Store, or either if he has uploaded on the App Store and now he has to learn the Android, so he has to upload it on the Google Play. So you can understand that it will take a lot much time for that. Well, so now let's come to back to the example that Bilal has the same app on Google Play, just like App Store. So now this is the great for the users, but for Bilal, now get into the situation. For Bilal, it means that when he has any updates that wants to make to the app or any bugs fixes, so he has to push both to the Play Store, okay, and as well as the App Store. So two places now instead of one, and he has to maintain two codes bases. So that's a lot of work he has to be done. Actually, it's basically doubles the amount of work that he used to have, but that's not all, because he gets complaint from the user saying that hey, in your app some of the layouts look really weird, or well, it doesn't look good. So it will happen because of the different screen sizes. Now you can see on the screen there are multiple Android phones and I think iOS phones also over here. So there are, uh, if we go back to just like last couple of years, on 5 to 6 years back, you can have your Android or iOS mobile phones. So you are well known that screens was very small, but now there are different screen sizes, and we are getting a huge screen just like of 6 inches or so. So well, this is because not only does he have to support a huge array of different screen sizes and aspect ratios for the iOS ecosystem, the iPads, the iPhones, the older iPhones, um, but he also now has a whole bunch of Android devices. And because Android devices can be made by literally anybody, the number of different screen sizes are just massive. So, and it's actually really hard to keep on the top of what are all of the different screen sizes in order to be able to design your app to look good on all of them. So now here where the Flutter comes in. The guys at Flutter had this question more and more. So we are seeing screens everywhere. There's the screens on the fridges, there's the screens at the bus stop, and there's a screen in your mirror. Nowadays there are a lot of screens you can see everywhere, and they are all different aspect ratios and different screen sizes. So why can't we create something that can intelligently and easily allow developers to design beautiful? That's what Flutter team thinks. Okay, so their interfaces for all of the devices, these devices types of screens, uh, And this is exactly what Flutter is. And actually, it's simply a toolkit that makes it easy for developers to design beautiful interfaces for all sort of screen sizes, what we have actually previously seen in our slides. Okay, so some of the basic question what you are watching on your screen. So how does we manage different screen sizes with Android and iPhone? So it is the answer is also on your screen by using constraints. But what are the constraints? Let's jump into the next slide. Let's see here. Now you can easily understand what are the constraints are. Actually, they are the layout of the width and height. Okay, the aspect ratios, these are the constraints. Actually, what Flutter does, Flutter actually works on every single pixelate. So you can easily get into so many things that another frameworks would not do. Sorry. Okay, so what the things we have covered right now is Flutter, and almost everything is a widget. Actually, it is the basic and the core concept of our Flutter. Okay, so uh, guys, don't get upset if you are trying to get the things at the end of the session. We will have question and answer section, so you can have your questions, or if any of the things you can't get easily, so you can uh, give comments in the message section. Okay, so let's summarize what we have covered right now. Actually, almost everything is a widget. What widget actually is? Object that describes a part of the user interface. Okay, so the another thing that is most important, that Flutter apps are written in Dart and code compiled to native iOS and Android. Let's see. Okay, now you have a screen. You are seeing a different widgets on your screen that are rows, column, stack, padding, center. Let's check what are these. What is the raw column? I think if you are familiar with the web designing, web background, so you are quite familiar of these things, the padding, the center, the column, and the raw. So actually it comes with a whole bunch of pre-built widgets that make it easy to lay out your app, okay? So straightforward things such as laying out your app with rows or with columns or stacks. And it borrows some of the concept from web designing where you can have things that are centered or have paddings and margins. So this means that instead of having to make iOS apps the Apple way or making Android apps the Android way, we can simply use a whole bunch of pre-built widgets from Flutter, such as a floating action button or a linear progress indicator. Uh, what you are watching on the screen. So we will actually go through the documents in detail. So don't worry. Actually, today we are just discussing about the introduction, and we are just checking the things. And now, well, you can simply put these into your app. So when you create alert dialog or your on your Android app or on your iOS app, then they should look like it was created in a native way that actually Flutter does. Okay. So, well, what if you could use this system to design and develop for almost any device? Because all that Flutter does it, actually it asks for a blank window on the device, and it will be on a Android or iOS or web or desktop. It doesn't matter. So let's jump into the next section. Okay. Just from a single code base, you can deploy it and at everywhere. So when you are thinking of building a new project, why we should choose Flutter, or what can it do? So well, one of the first reasons you might consider is that you will end up with one code base to maintain. one place to debug and one place to update. So one code base to rule them all. Yeah, and this is a huge advantage compared to creating your apps natively. Say creating your iOS apps in Swift or making your Android apps in Java and your web apps in JavaScript. Having all of these different places that you need to update and maintain, actually it can get really messy. So whereas here you only need to know just only one language, and that is Dart, which is very powerful language. That's actually quite easy to work with. Once you have learned and understand how to use it, then you can use it to create your iOS apps, your Android apps, and web apps. And it means that you have only to get good at one thing instead of a lot of different things. And if you have done any programming language before, then you will realize that Dart is actually very, very similar to a lot of modern object-oriented programming language. Now, let's see what Flutter does. What is Flutter SDK, Software Development Kit? SDK abbreviates like Software Development Kit. Actually, Flutter SDK is the only indispensable tool. It includes the Flutter compiler, project creator, device manager, test runner, and tools that diagnose and even correct problems with the Flutter configuration. Well, that's what actually Flutter does. It compiles your code into native iOS uh, and native Android to debug or release mode.